A couple of days ago on the A Dark Age of Roleplay Game channel, Jason asked us all what our perfect game group was. What is your ideal table? And I think in a couple other videos in the past, maybe most notably in the RPG A Day series, I've answered that question before. But I wanted to do a video response to it. I think that, over your lifetime, the answer to this might change a little bit. Mine hasn't changed since I've been doing videos on YouTube, but it is something to consider. What would I have as my game group if I could have anything I wanted, if I could have the perfect setup? And surprisingly, my answer is pretty short. I would like a group maybe of 4 people, maximum 5. I mean, I've had fantastic groups with, upwards of 9 people, sometimes 13 people, like really big groups, and I've had a great time. And I've also had small pockets of groups all playing in the same campaign together, just different aspects of it. So playing with 4 people over here and 3 people over there and 5 people over there, and they're all playing in the same game world in the exact same set of circumstances, just from different characters' points of view and slightly different points in time. This was great fun. It's also a lot of work, more work than I have time for these days. Is that an ideal? Is that something I would want to have all the time? It's pretty attractive, but really, one of the things that I like most about gaming is the connections it builds, the fictional connections between characters, the relationship between the players, the reliance on the other people. You're investing your time, your entertainment, and your imagination and your creative energies into this game. And the trust that you have with the other people to make that be all that it can be, that is something that I like. And that tends to move toward a smaller group. So if I could have 3 or 4 maximum players, so it'd be a group of 4 or 5 total, I think that would be ideal. And ideally, all of these people would also be interested in running games. And I don't really mean the games that I want to run, necessarily. But in a perfect world, they would want to run the games that I want to play in. Like, for example, I always said that I would never run Shadowrun. That was going to be a game that I would only play. That did not turn out to be true at all. Not at all, at all. But in a perfect world, it would have been a game that I only played. Likewise, All for One Regime Diabolique grabs me by the imagination and shakes me, and I want to be a character in that world. I love running it too, but that's the kind of game world I want to invest my character time in, and it would be fantastic in a perfect group of game masters if somebody really thrilled to the idea of running that game or a game like that, so I could play in it and never have to run it to get my interest satisfied by proxy as the game master. But there are games that I really love to run, and it'd be great to have interested and invested players in those games, so that when it's my turn to run a game and I choose to run one of these games that I love to run but don't necessarily feel the drive to be a player in, then the other 3 participants in this group, that's what they want to do. That's the ideal group. Now, maybe you would get there by compromise, maybe you would get there by luck, but you could get there. That would be the ideal group. People who want to run games, people who want to play in games, people whose tastes are complementary, not identical, where over time the group will force the group to grow and change as their interests expand, as their appetite for exploring new games takes them in different directions. And they say, hey, let's try this. And we all go, sure, let's try that. And yeah, sometimes we would discover things that we didn't like, and sometimes we would discover things that we get obsessed with for a while and only do that thing for a while. But eventually, we come back to the old things that we love or journey on to explore new things that we are going to love. And for me, that would be the ideal table. With one more thing, people whose schedules are perfectly complementary, so we can always find the time to play, or at least be able to, help each other out with all of our various duties and obligations and passions. So that's my video response. Can you believe it was this short?